Hello, and thank you so much for stopping by as I show off 15 free knitting patterns for warmer weather. All right, hi, welcome or welcome back. In this week's video, I'm talking through 15 knitting patterns that are great for warmer weather. So they're either tank tops or t-shirts or lighter materials. So I have a fun roundup. I also kind of wanted to challenge myself and find 15 free knitting patterns. I actually found like 50. There's a whole Ravelry bundle I created for this with, I think it's about 51 knitting patterns that are all free and for warmer weather, but cannot talk through 51 patterns in a video. So I'm featuring 15 here. And if you are interested in seeing more, the link will be in the description as well. So thank you so much for joining. I will get into it shortly. I do quickly want to say before starting off that support paid for patterns where you can. A lot of work goes into making a knitting pattern. And so while I am featuring free knitting patterns today, I am no means then saying that the patterns that you have to pay for are therefore not worth it or a ripoff. Like, I think support free or support paid for patterns when you can, support the pattern designers that really help the knitting industry thrive. But also I'm recognizing that a lot of us can't afford $5-10 every single time we want to buy a pattern on top of yarn, and this is an expensive craft. So every once in a while using a free pattern to kind of offset some of the expenses of crafting is a really great way to be able to engage with knitting while staying within, a reasonable budget. So that's why I've chosen to feature these patterns. But again, still, if you love, a very famous paid for summer knitting pattern, feel free to put it down below. Still feel free to talk about it, knit it. No means saying don't buy paid for patterns, but just want to feature some free ones as well. So with that out of the way, let's get into the patterns. I'm really excited to go through these. I found some really great ones this time around. I spent a few weeks making this list, and there's some really amazing free patterns out there for summer knits or warm weather knits. So let's get into it. All right, and without further ado, the first pattern that I'm talking about today is the Luxora Tank. This is by Samantha Stader. I believe it's Stader. It's a light fingering weight piece, and it is available on her website. So you'll see on Ravelry an available for free link. Click that. You'll find the pattern there. It's on her website, so there will be ads throughout so that she can still make some AdSense or funding money from you viewing her pattern. But it's a really great pattern. There's a lot of Ravelry projects with it. And yeah, I really like it. It's a beautiful tank top with some nice lace. I really like that it's kind of all diagonal lines, and just really interesting. I also think that you could maybe use a fingering weight instead of a light fingering on this one if you wanted it to be less see-through. You can see in her sample that it is a little bit see-through, which means it's more breathable, which is great. But if you are looking for something that is maybe a little more covering, despite the huge panels of lace that you can't make that more covering, maybe look into maybe using a full fingering rather than the light fingering on that one. But yeah, it's a beautiful tank. I think that the way it sits is it's just lovely. It looks simple, easy to throw on. I love the way she styled it with linen pants. So yeah. All right, I'm moving slightly quickly because there's 15 of these to go through and I love to talk. So trying to go quickly where I can. The next pattern I will talk about is the notched hem tank top. This is a pattern by Pearl Soho, and it's made with fingering weight. Originally it was knit with a kind of linen tape yarn where it's flat, but I think you could just use any fingering weight yarn and get a similar result. This is also available for free on their website, so you do have to click through to Pearl Soho's website to view the pattern. But yeah, it's really beautiful. I think that it's really cool. I've been talking a lot the past few months about split hems, and I think this is kind of a nice way to incorporate a split hem in the summer as well with the notched hem, where the front and back come down further, but then on the side there's a little bit higher up. I think that's just a really nice detail and makes a beautiful tank. I also like that that side panel is a different stitch. So overall, it's just a really cool, interesting construction tank top, but is also looks pretty simple. It's just a, you know, high-ish neck tank that's kind of loose at the bottom, but has those really nice, thoughtful details as well. So highly recommend that one. The next tank top, or I've kind of divided this, by the way, so that we're going from tank tops to tees. I tried the best I could to have that. So if you're more interested in more coverage or more tees, those will come later on, but going through some tank tops first. So the next tank top that I found for free for warm weather knitting is the Summer Secret Crop. This is by Jessie Maed Design, and it's a really famous knitting pattern. So many people have made it. I mean, it's one of Jessie Maed's most, well, Jessie Maed is a very popular designer, and I think this is one of her most popular patterns because it is a free tank top. It's really quite easy to make and very simple design. It's a fitted tank that's pretty cropped, but you can easily extend it. And I've seen people also say, you know, they'll knit it at a higher weight because this one is a fingering weight tank, but you can kind of see in the sample it's pretty see-through. So maybe look at a Sport or a DK to knit it with if you want something that's less see-through, or yeah, just be sure to swatch beforehand. But it's a simple racerback fitted tank top that is very comfortable, very easy to make. And this one is a free Ravelry download, so you can just get a PDF straight from Ravelry if that's what you would like to do. Next top I'll talk about is the Overnight Oats Vest. This is by Tanushree Sahai. I hope that I'm saying that right. Please correct me if I'm not. And this one's a little bit heavier. So it's a vest. So you may want to layer with it, although you could just wear it buttoned up. And it is an Aran weight. So it's a little, I think it's the heaviest pattern on this list. But I think that given that it's a vest, you can wear it open over something else. And I, at least living in Colorado, it gets very cold very quickly in the nights here. So I would see throwing this on in the evening in the summer so that I can still, you know, have ventilation. It's my arms are open, but covering my core to stay a little bit warmer is something that I'd be interested in wearing this for. I also just think it's a really darling pattern and really wanted to bring it here as well. So even if, you know, you may say this would never work for my Arizona or wherever very hot places summer, I think I could very well see myself wearing it in the summer where I live. And I know a lot of other folks live in also similar climates where it doesn't get too warm. So it's a really beautiful pattern. I also really love the way the designer styled it for the sample photos with the nice collar over it. I think it just really adds something. And then the pearl buttons are so cute. But you could also very easily kind of make this feel more summery by maybe knitting it in a brighter color and then having maybe snaps instead of full buttons or like plastic buttons, just something to make it feel more casual, because the sample definitely is a little bit, I don't want to say dolled up, but it definitely has some elegance with it, or like whimsy. I don't know. I'm not the best at describing things, but has something with it with the pearl buttons and the color choice. So easy way if you are looking for kind of a fun summer layering piece or warm weather layering piece, make it neon or make it like a brighter, more summery color, and choose buttons that match with that well. So yeah, great pattern. And, you know, it would go very well into the spring. You could knit it now, wear it through the spring, into the summer, and then also be able to wear it kind of deep into the autumn season as well. Yeah. The next pattern I'll talk about is the Claudia top. This is by Danny Ruiz, and it's a DK weight. This is also a free Ravelry download, so you can just get a PDF straight from Ravelry. And I really love this pattern. I don't know, it's got something very cool. I think also the way that the designer has styled a lot of the sample photos, just, it looks like a very cool tank. It's definitely not like you have to wear something under it, and you have to be comfortable with you can lengthen it, but it is largely open, so you have to be comfortable with showing some sort of skin on your stomach. But it's really cute. I really like this one. I think that it's really cool. It reminds me a lot of tops I was seeing a lot last summer, just from commercial stores with the just two buttons right at the front, and it's pretty open. I think that that's a pretty common style. Maybe it's Y2K. I don't know really if it's Y2K, but it's yeah, it's just a common style I've seen a lot, and it's cool to see a lot of these commercial styles represented in knitting because typically this would not be a knit garment. But I love that this designer was able to kind of rethink this common vest or shirt with like very few little buttons at the top into a knit piece. So I highly recommend looking into this one more and knitting it. There's some cool patterns or projects from this one as well, and they all look really great. And it could be a really great like swimsuit layering piece if you want a quick swimsuit cover up. Maybe knit it with like linen or something that can get wet, cotton. If you're planning on doing that, I believe she used the Trubu, which is a 100% bamboo viscose yarn. So potentially could do something like that if you wanted to use this as a swimsuit cover up, or just have a tank top with a lot of ventilation because it's just open in the middle. But yeah, great pattern. All right, the next one I'll talk about is the Tip Top Tank Fine version. So that is so hard to say. But yes, this tank top is by Emily Boldawan. I believe that's how you'd say that. And she actually has a multiple weights of this tank top. They're all free. I'm talking about the fine version, which is in fingering weight, but I believe there's also a DK weight version and maybe even a heavier one. So if you are interested in seeing the other ones, you can go to Emily Boldawan's Ravelry profile or just look up Tip Top Tank and you'll find all of them. But this is a free Ravelry download as well, so you can just get your PDF off Ravelry. And I love this one. I think it's really nicely finished so that you don't have rolling edges despite there being stockinette really close to the edge. I love the ties as well. I think that's a really nice detail and one of my favorite things to do with knitted tops or tanks, because knit fabric does stretch as you wear it, and so having the ability to adjust and not have to go reknit a strap because it's stretched out is something that I think is really smart and a really great way to actually think about the longevity of your knits as they, or the wearability of your knits as they kind of expand or change with wear, because they are going to change with wear, and blocking does help a little bit, but I just love being able to adjust and not having to perfectly guess how much something's going to stretch while I'm knitting it. So I love the addition of the ties. You could also do it without. I think one of the other versions doesn't have ties, but it adds some adjustability. And then otherwise, it's just a nice, simple kind of V-neck tank top. It looks a little bit looser. And yeah, I love the lines. I love the shaping of it. Love the ties. And I like that this can be in multiple weights. I just tend to prefer fingering weight garments for the summer, so a lot of what I've chosen to feature reflects my own style and my own kind of what I look for in a summer knit. And so for this one, I like a fingering weight garment because it's lighter weight in the summer. The next top I'll talk about is it's just called Olympia. It's a tank top. This one's a pattern by Filcolana. It is knit in a light fingering weight, and if you go to the Filcolana website, you can download it from there. And there's a link if you go through Ravelry. And I really like this one as well. It's an all-over ribbed tank. It's got some really nice shaping. It's got a high neck, but it kind of cuts. It's honestly kind of similar to this tank top that I'm wearing. So yeah, although the neckline's a little bit harsher, not harsher, but just more square. But it does cut in kind of like that. So it's a beautiful tank top. I think that it's nice that I love a ribbed tank because it has a lot of stretch and conforms to your body nicely, but it doesn't feel constricting just because it is like a nice light knit fabric, especially with it being fingering weight. It would be very light. I can't imagine knitting this myself. That's a lot of ribbing for fingering weight. But if you are up to the challenge, it would make a really wonderful summer garment for years and years to come. I think styling this with like linen pants or something, having like an open button down over it would be just wonderful. A really great way to continue to wear your handmakes in the summer, because I definitely struggle with that a little bit as it gets warmer, and I worry about being able to wear my hand knits, just sweating on them or being too warm. But with the right yarn, this tank, and then some flowy garments with it, I think that you'd be really set for years and years to come. So yeah. All right, and then the last tank top I'll talk about before we get into some t-shirts is called the Paris by Filcolana as well. So available to download from their website. You can follow the link in the Ravelry pattern page, or go straight to their website if you want. It's called the Paris, and it's in a DK weight, and I love this one. I think that it's very similar to some paid for patterns I've seen, so it's nice to have a free option. I'm not going to name all the paid for patterns I've seen that are similar, but I think that this just is a very common style right now with like a textured kind of, this one almost looks like a sweater where someone just didn't knit the sleeves, or like a drop shoulder sweater where someone didn't knit the sleeves. And I've noticed that that's kind of a popular style right now of tank top, where it's more casual, more almost like unfinished or less fitted. I don't want to say unfinished in a bad way, but just like it feels more casual, because it does feel like, oh, you meant to pick up the sleeves, or you could have picked up sleeves and you just left it as a tank top. So I really like that about this. And then texture, of course, has been very big recently. I think for the past year, a lot of knits have focused a lot on texture. So it's nice to see that in this one as well. I really like the texture in this one. It adds a lot of interest. It almost looks like Rosa Violets, but I don't think it is. And then, the rib at the top and the bottom, I think just it's a very elegant, very like casual piece where it feels it feels casual because of the fit of it, but the texture, the yarn choices, and the styling, at least with the skirt in the sample, makes it look very elevated. So it's a very nice elevated casual, and you'd have a lot of airflow because the armholes are a little bit bigger. It's not right against your body. So it would be a really wonderful piece to be able to look cute, wear a knitted good in the summer, and hopefully stay cool, depending. This is not going to survive like 100-degree Fahrenheit temperatures, or like 36, I think is when it gets really hot in Europe, or like in Celsius. But it's not going to survive super, super warm temperatures. No knit is made for super, super warm temperatures. I would advise against wearing knits when it's really hot, but you could stay pretty cool in this while it's upper temperatures. So it's beautiful. All right, and now let's move on to t-shirts. So the first t-shirt that I'm talking about is the Cascada by Philippa Carnero. This is just a really nice circular yoke t-shirt. I like that it has very simple pickup and finishings. I think it's just a long tail cast on actually, and then she's allowed the fabric to roll a little bit. Same with the sleeves. I think it's just a standard bind off that are rolling up a little bit. And I've seen a lot of that lately with kind of, I don't want to say unfinished, but simpler finishings, and just letting the fabric roll up on itself, or adding it as a feature is something that I've seen a lot, where it's part of the design is to have it be simply finished. And I really, really love that. I think that it's nice, partially just because that means there's less patterns with Italian bind-offs or sewn bind-offs that take a really long time. So it makes your garment, easier to finish. They're more beginner friendly. And I do really like the little rolled edge. I think that it adds something. It does kind of look like an I-cord finish, but it's almost like a garter stitch I-cord finish. I don't know. It just adds something nice. And I think after so many years and so many patterns featuring very, I don't want to say complex, but more involved finishings of, you know, a double knit edge on a sleeve or doing an I-cord finish, it's nice to see some of the more simpler finished ones. They feel more casual and more wearable for that reason. But yeah, so the Cascada, it's got the nice eyelets as well. And then I really love there's a really cool lace panel down the side that, I mean, if you wanted, you could omit, but I think that it does add a lot and it's really interesting. It kind of looks like a leaf, and looking at it, it shouldn't be a very complicated lace pattern. But this fits beautifully on the designer or whoever is modeling the sample. I love just the way it frames kind of the top of her body. It looks really wonderful, and I think that this would just be pretty flattering on most body types. Just a nice, I love like a circular yoke where it's a little bit more open and at the top, and yeah, just kind of shows off your neck or your collarbones or just the top of your chest, I guess. So I also love the color of the sample in this nice purple. It's beautiful, but it would be beautiful in any color. The next pattern I will talk about, this is another kind of t-shirt or top. This is again by Samantha Slatter. I talked about her earlier, and again, this pattern is available for free on her website. So follow the link in the Ravelry pattern to her website and you will find it. This is on fingering weight, and it's so cool. It looks like it's either garter or reverse stockinette for the sides, and then there's a huge lace panel right down the front. So this is another one that would be an amazing swimsuit cover up, or if you do have a cool tank top or bralette you want to show off, you could put it under this and it would look great. If you wanted, you could wear just a full tank top underneath to stay covered, but it gives you a lot of options on, you know, how revealing you want, but this could be pretty revealing if you just wore a standard bra. But yeah, it's a really cool top. I would definitely love to wear this with, I have a lot of like more cropped, they're not quite a bralette, they're not quite a tank top, they're like kind of in between where they're like hit right above my belly button, and I'd wear maybe one of those under this in like a fun, I have one in like a fun teal and maybe that, and then keep like a neutral color for the linen top. I think could be really cool. But anyways, this top, yeah, so it's pretty simply a simple t-shirt. It looks like maybe a drop shoulder, you know, where you knit the back panel first, or not the back panel, like between arm to top, pick up for the fronts, join in the round eventually, knit in the round until you're done. Looks like that, I think, and I think I said it was garter, but I think it's just normal stockinette actually on closer inspection. But yeah, very cool top. Pretty simply constructed. The lace looks like it would be pretty simple to knit, and would be a really fun project. And if I didn't already mention, this is a fingering weight. I feel like I said that, but I just want to double check. And yeah. Again, pretty simple finishings on this one as well. Like just a normal pickup, normal cast offs. So, or maybe it's an I-cord cast off, but whatever it is, pretty simple finishings for the neckline, the sleeves, and the bottom hem. So if you were less experienced, you wouldn't have to worry about doing a complicated bind off. Or if you are more experienced, you just don't have to worry about then doing an I-cord bind off or something more complicated at the end of your fingering weight knit project. So that's always nice. The next t-shirt that I will talk about is the Kentia by Marie Amelie Designs. It is a light fingering weight and a free Ravelry downloads. And this is a really interesting tank or t-shirt. It requires 2 colors of yarn, or I guess you could do it all in one, but it does look really striking in the 2 colors. And so it is a lace yoke circular top, and then different color or same color, just stockinette body for making this t-shirt, and it gives a really stunning effect. I think she also used a silk based yarn in the sample, so it's very nice and shiny. You know, you could use different bases, get different results as well, but I do like the shine in the pink yarn that she's chosen. But But yeah, it's a really cool top. Marie Amelie also had a lot of free summer knitting patterns and just a lot of free patterns generally. I think this is the only one I featured in this list, but you will find a lot more in the Ravelry bundle. And then I do suggest, if you are looking for more free summer knitting patterns, going and just looking at her website, because she does, or at her Ravelry profile, because she did have a lot on there. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful top. Would be really fun to knit, and yeah, have some fun details. And I love lace for the summer just because it gives you a lot of ventilation. The next tee I will talk about is the Mysterium tee. This is by Hannah Mann, and it's another lace tank top or t-shirt. So the lace details though on this one are just at the end of the sleeves and the bottom of the body or the hem. And it's a really simple lace detail, and then the rest is just stockinette. And if I did not mention, this is a free Ravelry download, so just get a PDF on Ravelry, and it's fingering weight. It's so cool. I think that the sample, I love the texture. It's just stockinette stitch, but there's a lot of texture in this sample, and it adds a lot of interest. And then the lace detail, again, looks really easy to accomplish and just adds a lot to just the very edge. But overall, it's a very simple top that could style really well with, throwing it over a dress or a skirt or like linen pants. I just love a linen pant in the summer, if you can't tell, or shorts, whatever your favorite bottom is in the summer. I think that this top would look great with it. We're nearing the end. The next top I will talk about is the Slatter tee. I believe it's Slatter. This is by Stine Holgard Johansson. I apologize if I've said this wrong, but it is a beautiful t-shirt. It's in sport weight, which you don't see very often, but it's just a really well-finished, simple t-shirt. It almost looks like a t-shirt you could get from any store, just a men's fitted cotton t-shirt. I think that this uses a saddle shoulder construction, and then has folded collar, folded hems on the arms, and then a folded hem on the bottom to just finish really simply, and it looks amazing. In this photo, it is styled on a male, but I think that you could very easily style it on someone else, and it would also look great. It's just a really simple, well thought out, well created t-shirt. So I really recommend looking into this one. This one also is available in a lot of different languages. So I think it was 4 languages. So check that out if you do like to knit in other languages as well. The next top I will talk about is the Medina. This is by Falcolana as well. So it's available. If you click the link on Ravelry to go to their website, you can download it from there. And it's in a light fingering weight, and it's just a really cool t-shirt. It looks like maybe a drop shoulder with a really nice color work band in the middle of it. So I think this one's really cool. There's a lot of fun ways to play with color. I think there's maybe 5 colors featured, so a lot of different variations that you could come up with. And color work, I will note, does usually add some warmth to a garment because you're making it double layered in places where you're doing the color work. So I would be especially wary about knitting this one if you are hoping to wear it for really, really warm weather. But if you could wear this on a cooler evening, or your summers aren't as warm, you're not expecting to wear this in super, super warm weather, I think it is really cute, a really cute pattern. So keep that in mind, but wanted to show it because it does also have a fun way to play with color, which I at least love to play with color in the summer. So this gives you that option. Okay, and the final top, warm weather knit I will talk about today is the holic blouse and skirt. So this is actually 2 different patterns. Both are in the Ravelry bundle, but it is a blouse and skirt combo, and both are wrap style, and they're knit with DK weight. It's by Wool and Beyond, and they're both free Ravelry downloads. I think that this these are so cool. There is color work. I believe it's mosaic color work, so it's not quite double layered anywhere, so you should be okay. But do also keep that in mind if you do want to wear it somewhere super warm. Like, it is DK weight and does feature multiple colors, so it is going to be a little bit warmer than some of the other patterns I've featured. And then, of course, it is already a knit garment, so it's going to be warmer than, you know, some commercially made garments that are made specifically to be cool. But it's a really lovely set, and I wanted to feature it. I love the skirt. I love that they're both wraps. I think that a wrap top and a wrap skirt are a really nice way to get some more adjustability in your knits. I talked before about, being able to adjust the straps as your knit grows, but also with a wrap top, I find a lot that my waist is a lot slimmer than my hips. And so being able to tie something at the smallest part of my body, but being able to knit something to the biggest part of my body allows me to have a lot more size range or a lot more customization and get the fit I actually want out of a garment. Same goes for a skirt, where if I can tie the top and then make it go over my hips, that's wonderful. So I love that that's featured here. And then the color combos that they chose for the sample are wonderful. And again, you could play with colors a lot here. It does almost look like a nice red summery gingham in the color combination chosen. So you could play with that, do like a green gingham or a blue gingham, or just go completely crazy and choose two of your favorite colors to pair together. So yeah, those are the patterns featured today. Thank you so much for watching. You may have noticed in this kind of roundup, I did mostly feature flowier warm weather knits. That is because that's my favorite style of knits to wear in the summer. I just find a knit garment that's tight to my body is, no matter the fiber content, going to be warmer than something that is flowy and loose. So I prefer flowy and loose things to stay cool, but some people I know prefer something tighter to them. So let me know, what do you prefer to wear in the summer? Like, do you like warm, or do you like tight things? Do you like as little fabric as possible on you? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear, because it is so interesting how we all dress differently based on our climates and our cultures and just our own preferences as well. So let me know. And please, please, please check out the Ravelry bundle. I wish I could talk about all 51 patterns in this video, but I had to choose a few to make this a reasonable video length. So please check out the rest of the bundle. And if there is another free warm weather knit that you didn't see me feature or isn't in the bundle and you would like to feature, please comment it down below. I'd love to hear about more. And also, if you're watching and looking for more recommendations, check the comment section. There might be some great ones. Or, if there is a paid for pattern that you do really love, like, we can also show those designers love. So please comment just your favorite warm weather knit down below. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Okay.